Here's the number that should terrify anyone who's ever dreamed of owning a five-star casino. Gaming. The slot machines, the blackjack tables, the roulette wheel, now makes up less than 35% of total revenue at a premier Las Vegas Strip property. The other 65%? That's real estate, retail leases, restaurants, and hotel rooms. You didn't buy a casino. You bought a hyper-leveraged luxury real estate company that happens to have a statistical engine bolted onto the lobby. And that engine is the least of your problems. You picture ocean-sized gaming floors bathed in neon, private jets shuttling high rollers to penthouse suites, and a river of cash flowing into your vault 24 hours a day. What nobody tells you is that the real story of casino wealth isn't written on the roulette wheel. It's buried in cold storage facilities, subterranean fiber optic corridors, offshore liquidity buffers, and non-gaming balance sheets, where one empty hotel room costs you more than a lost hand of blackjack. To build, staff, and open a modern five-star gaming palace like the Wynn or the Cosmopolitan, adjusted to today's money, you need an initial cash outlay of roughly $4.85 billion just to survive your first 3 years. That's not a regional airport. That's not a rocket program. That's one building. It's more than the entire annual GDP of nations like Liberia or Montenegro, all sunk into a single glass tower where your biggest risk isn't that people stop gambling, it's that you run out of capital to pay the electric bill keeping the air at exactly 68 degrees. So how do you run an institution that pulls in billions a year, yet constantly teeters on the edge of catastrophic liquidity failure? Let's build a five-star casino from scratch, open the doors, and watch the money leave. Built into the foundation of this entire business is a fatal tension. Call it the VIP paradox. To attract the ultra-wealthy gamblers who generate your real profit margins, you have to extend them millions of dollars in completely unbacked credit. But the moment you do that, one bad weekend at the baccarat table can wipe out your property's entire quarterly income before Sunday night hits. Keep that paradox in your head. It's going to come back. Before a single chip touches the felt, you have to build the fortress. Surveillance and security alone cost $142 million in upfront capital, plus $18.5 million every year just to keep the tech running, more than the annual budget of a mid-sized city police department. In a control bunker beneath the casino floor, a director of surveillance and their team monitor up to 4,000 camera feeds running facial recognition, gait analysis, and optical software that reads card values straight off the dealer's hand. Below that, subterranean vaults sit behind 3 feet of reinforced concrete, wired with seismic sensors and air-gapped servers, guarded by an armed team trained for hostage scenarios most casinos never talk about publicly. Then there's the utility engine, and this is where people get it wrong. Electricity isn't a line item here, it's an existential threat. A single 5-star resort burns through $2.4 million a month in utilities, enough energy annually to power 18,000 American homes. Engineers hold the temperature at exactly 68.5 degrees, because a half-degree rise measurably shortens how long a patron sits at a slot machine. If the power drops for even 90 seconds during peak hours, chip tracking resets, game integrity breaks, and you've got panic on a floor holding tens of millions in physical cash. So you keep diesel generator farms on site, capable of powering a small city for 72 straight hours. This is the fixed cost that never turns off. Remember that too. Now you go catch the whales. The real profit engine isn't the tourist playing $20 blackjack. It's the whale, a player who bets $100,000 a hand, but getting them through the door costs a fortune before they ever sit down. You'll spend roughly $45 million a year on credit lines, private jets, and comps, more than the entire annual payroll of a top Major League Soccer club. An executive casino host is assigned to manage the egos of maybe 50 whales worldwide. If one demands a specific vintage of Bordeaux with 6 bottles left on Earth, the host puts a courier on a plane to France to go get it. And here's where the VIP paradox turns real. To get whales betting, you issue markers, interest-free, unsecured credit. A single player might get a $10 million marker for one long weekend. If they win, you wire the money instantly. If they lose and fly home to a country that doesn't enforce foreign gambling debts, that $10 million doesn't come back. It becomes a write-off on your quarterly balance sheet. People assume casinos get rich by rigging the games. They can't. The odds are public and tightly regulated. The real money is made, or lost, in the brutal logistics of luxury hospitality, where one empty penthouse does more damage over time than any jackpot ever will. Now think about labor. A five-star resort is a small, dense city that runs around the clock. $220 million a year in wages and benefits, roughly what it costs to run the entire municipal workforce of a city of 150,000 people. Pit bosses, sommeliers, mixologists, housekeeping, even the person cleaning a luxury villa is trained in diplomatic protocol and non-disclosure standards, because whoever they let into that room might be worth more to the property than the room itself. In Las Vegas, that labor force is heavily unionized, which means a single strike doesn't just slow things down, it freezes the entire operation. Close a 4,000-room property for 48 hours, and you've burned roughly $12 million that never comes back. Then comes the safety net nobody explains properly. Every casino game guarantees a house edge, but only over millions of hands. In the short term, variance is king. That's why you need $300 million in liquid cash sitting in the cage vault and reserve accounts at all times, enough to buy 2 Boeing 787s outright, in cash, just sitting there in case you need it tonight. State gaming boards send auditors in unannounced to count it. Why? Because if 3 high rollers hit statistical hot streaks on the same Saturday, say $15 million each at high-limit baccarat, you need to pay them out immediately. Drop below the mandated reserve for even 1 hour, and regulators can shut your gaming license down on the spot. And here's the twist that surprised mob bosses just as much as modern CEOs. The floor games aren't what keeps executives up at night. Slot machines yield a steady, boring 8 to 12% margin, like clockwork. The real threat is high-limit baccarat, where the house edge is so razor-thin, just 1.06%, that a run of pure luck by 5 players in one night can move an entire company's earnings report for the year. The safest-looking game on the floor is the one that can actually hurt you. Every 5 to 7 years, you're back at the well again. $350 million to gut and rebuild rooms, restaurants, and carpets, because 24/7 foot traffic ages a casino faster than almost any other building type on Earth. That's the equivalent of rebuilding a major airport terminal's infrastructure twice a decade. And this isn't optional. Interior designers build flow architecture, carpet patterns engineered to hide stains while quietly steering foot traffic back toward the slot machines. Let your rooms look even slightly dated, and rating agencies knock you down from 5 stars to 4. Lose that 5th star and your pricing power collapses 30 to 40% overnight, turning your massive fixed costs instantly net negative. Which brings you to the real machine underneath all of it. There are no clocks on a casino floor, no clear sightlines to daylight. The carpets are covered in disorienting geometric patterns designed to keep your eyes pulled up toward the brighter gaming lights instead of down at your watch. Every design choice you've just spent $1 billion building is engineered around one goal: stripping human beings of their sense of time and financial awareness. And when it works too well, the outcome isn't an abstract spreadsheet line. It's bankruptcy court. It's problem gambling response teams quietly walking a patron out after they've gambled through their life savings in a 36-hour blackout. The luxury, the free champagne, the butler service, the constant validation is the velvet glove hiding an industrial machine built to extract maximum yield from human vulnerability. Now remember that fixed cost we mentioned back at the generator farms? Here's where it turns lethal. When a shock hits, 2008 or the 2020 shutdowns, a normal business cuts costs and waits it out. A 5-star casino can't. Debt service on billions in construction loans, security infrastructure, climate control, compliance, property taxes, none of it turns off. That's $1.5 to $2 million a day just to keep the lights on in an empty building. During total shutdowns, major operators burn through $5 to $10 million in cash reserves every single day. Properties that cost $4 billion to build entered restructuring within months. Because when you owe billions to lenders and your engine stops completely, the house doesn't win. The house gets liquidated. Which is exactly why the economics are shifting again right now. The same operators who spent $4 billion on glass towers in Las Vegas and Macau are pouring money into online sports betting and iGaming platforms instead. An app doesn't have a $2.4 million electric bill. It doesn't need new carpets every 5 years. It can't be shut down by a union strike, but the mechanics underneath, the house edge, the behavioral psychology, the relentless extraction of yield stay exactly the same. The mega resort was just the prototype. The internet is the infinite casino floor. So go back to that dream of owning a 5-star casino. It was never a gambling hall, and it was never a machine for printing infinite wealth. It was a high-wire financial act wearing the costume of an adult playground, a business where the house doesn't win because it gets lucky. It wins because it manages to survive its own outrageous cost of existence just one day longer than you do.